had only infantry, and then it had added artillery. For the last 2 years, they've been talking about adding horses to the calf, but it hasn't happened yet. So whether it happens or not, I don't know. But they've been talking about that for a while. But basically, the different units make up the Army in Northern Virginia, and like I said, it's fun, man. We got a good group. Um, it's pretty organized. It's really good.
So are you like
We organize through
are you like a
so
clan then?
yeah, through the AMV, Army Northern Virginia, and
So that okay, that's the clan name. Okay, 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 okay.
yeah,
I'm following. I'm just looking for something too because
yeah, no problem. But
my
yeah,
eyes
it's
are
you
fucking cashed. I smoked a big
you
old
feeling
fat
it, huh, man?
doobie. Well, no, so I
You
smoked a big old fat doobie earlier because I usually just buy pre rolls because they're fucking easier, you know. But
chasing a dragon?
no, they just didn't have any fucking deals on them, dude. So like, I was like, you know what, fuck it, I can get back to the old way. I'll go and stuff some cones, roll some joints, fucking. I'll kick it old school for a little bit. I don't like smoking pot, like the actual flower, because the smell.
Right.
It, you know what I mean? It limits it. Like I like the vaporizers and the concentrates because like you can hit them and then the fucking smell dissipates and like there's nothing that literally
I mean,
comes
yeah,
out.
if you got people and kids around, you're not making it so obvious. Yeah, I can get that.
Honestly, dude, I know people like still shun so much on smoking weed like while kids are in the vicinity, and I understand it, but it's like drinking
Yeah,
a beer. You know what I mean? It's if you truly think
yeah.
about it, as long as they're
Well, the
fucking,
only difference is one's
as long as
legal
you're
and
not
one
hot
isn't.
boxing like a fucking bathroom with a kid, you know what I mean? Like that's a
Yeah,
different
yeah.
story.
Well,
Like,
that's some open shit. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
well, you got to think about the amount you exhale is less than the amount you inhale, and then dissipation rates is extremely quick with
Yeah,
vaporizers.
you're outdoors, you blowing and shit.
Well, vaporizers, I'm saying for like even when you're like
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't like smoking flower indoors. When I do, I fucking go stand by my window or I close my door and I don't open it. But unfortunately, with you know, uh, Skylar being here, it just makes it so much easier to use like a vaporizer and stuff like that because I don't have
Yeah.
to really separate myself too far from her. Like, that's why I quit cigarettes. Wasn't even like that I really cared about smoking. It was more of like just the inconvenience and the smell. You know what I mean? Like, I really
Yeah.
didn't mind smoking. Like, yeah, but it made me feel disgusting, and I feel so much better now that I don't. But I still like nicotine. I'm definitely. It's weird because like I can come off of it, but it's. I actually found myself craving my vaporizer so much instead of these pouches, like the on pouches. Even with those for 4 days, I still craved my vaporizer, and I don't even
Let
crave
me ask
nicotine like that. And I think it's the
you,
sugar in there.
does it seem like you get the nicotine fix quicker through the vape than you do through the pouch?
Fuck yeah. You're gonna
That's
get
probably, you know what I mean. You get the more of an instant gratification from that than you
well,
do.
even after I had the pouch in though, I still want to hit it. I think it's the sugar in it, bro. I really do. I think it's the sugar in it, and I think it's whatever else they put in there because
The sugar,
you know what I mean.
yeah,
Like there's
the
not
flavor.
just the nicotine. Well, for flavoring, yeah. Anything that's sweet,
Okay,
any strawberry, watermelon. I get strawberry kiwi and fucking some other thing. Like I mix
like
two
so.
nicotine levels to kind of play with it. I use a straight 6 as a base, and then like I'll add like a 36 milligram in as I need it. Like, because what I found is like if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have been able to quit cigarettes because whenever like if I would drink, and I don't drink often, but like when I would drink, I'd want a fucking cigarette. But instead of that, I just went to a higher nicotine level, and it kind of balanced it out. But these pouches, they're great, but it was weird, dude. Like I haven't fiend for. It wasn't even the nicotine I was fiending for. It was something else in the fucking vaporizer, and I'm
Probably
definitely.
the flavor,
It,
flavor of it.
I really think it was the sugar, bro. I really do. Yeah, I don't know,
Never.
but it's interesting the way our body works. Like I did this cold plunge with my buddy from work at his house, and dude, it fucking sucks. Um, there's like, I just was trying to like just breathe, and then like I did it today in my bathtub, and I ordered one for the house. It has a chiller on it, so it will cool the water itself. I figured that's just
You talking about cold plunge? You talking about like sitting in cold water and shit?
yeah. I got it down to about 48 degrees, and I got in
Dang,
for 2 minutes, and it fucking
so you
hurts. Go
so
ahead.
you're doing like what's face like a nice challenge or some shit. You're sitting in there and
It's just because of the benefits of it, dude. I'm not even joking. Like, ever since this hernia bulged out a little bit more on me, I've been a little bit like my food is like definitely been a little bit my digestion has been rougher, and not been taking good dumps. I always tell my daughter, when you wipe and and you got nothing, that was a good poop. That was a good poop. You got to have the good poops, and
so
I haven't been having
good.
good poops lately. And
So when you shit, you got to wipe your ass, and that's some bad shit.
well, when you got a lot of poop on there, that's a bad shit. Your body's not digesting right. Something's off. You need to correct. That's the way I look at it, at least. But
I thought either another. That's all.
bro, when you wipe and you got a clean one, you're like, yeah, I'm eating right. I'm doing
Yeah,
it
I mean,
good. But I did the cold plunge. Nothing changed in my diet from the way I've been eating. I've been eating decent, not been like overdoing carbs, been, getting the vegetables and everything, and been eating, pretty cleanly, outside of the McDonald's bullshit. But it's only like I try to only do once a day or something like that. I try to, at least throw something good in there. Nothing changed besides the cold plunge. Perfect shits the last 2 days. Loud and proud, bro. Like, it is it's it has to be the cold plunge. It's the only thing that changed. But outside of that, dude, my energy level, like, I feel like I'm 10 years younger, like, with my energy level. Um when I sat down on the couch, I noticed myself getting tired, but as long as like I'm up and doing it, I'm like alert, and like I feel good. My energy, like, I fell asleep easier, and like it took me a little bit to get in, and I know it's like you gotta kind of like beat your own mind with it. And like I thought, my buddy's like, you gotta stick your head in first. And I was like, I don't know about that. And so I tried to get him, and I was like, oh fuck, I jumped out, and then I stuck my head in for like a good like
yeah.
minute or 30 seconds, and when I got in, it was 100 times easier. And I was like, whoa, that's like awesome. Like, that's a good little cheat code. But I haven't like the water's only gotten up to like right here, because I once I get in and I'm at that level, like I feel like if I went down more, I'm just gonna fucking puss out and jump out. And so instead of doing that, I'm just kind of slowly doing it. But tomorrow morning, same thing. I'm gonna go get, instead of one bag of ice, I'm gonna get two. Uh, two large ones.
Get an ice maker at home. Just get an ice maker
Well,
at home,
that's
man.
why I said I ordered a little thing. It's like it comes with a tub, and then it comes with a
Yeah.
chiller, and the chiller will get it down to 39 degrees Fahrenheit. Which,
Oh, so
yeah,
it's like
so it's like a
polar.
mini hot tub, but it's a cold tub.
Okay.
So it's literally hooked up to a chiller. You put the water in there, do whatever stabilizers you have to, fucking run the thing, and it chills down. It takes like an hour or two to chill the water. And you know what I mean? I'll start slowly. So it'll take like an hour. I'm going to kind of go from like 50 degrees to 55 or to 45 and try to drop from there, maybe even slower increments. Um, because I want to milk this, like, this boost in energy as much as I can. You know what I mean? I think doing it slowly will kind of milk it as much as I can, instead of trying to, I'll do some jumps probably when I feel it. Like my second time jumping in, because I jumped in the first day I did it, it was 2 minutes and 1 minute. Today I did 2 minutes and 4 minutes. And so like, and I know one thing is like you do build a barrier. Your body is trying to protect itself, so it tries to build like a hydrophilic or I don't know, some type of thermal layer. I think it has to do something with the way the water bonds, or the way the your skin repels the water back, or something like that. Or I don't know. I'm talking out of my
Your
ass right now.
steps to it.
But yeah, and like I could feel it the second time in. Like I felt my body like it was kind of equalizing. And so there's ones that have running water, but those are like fucking $5,000. I'm not spending that. You know what I mean? Like that, if I had that type of
Right.
money, there's a lot of other things that it would go to before that. This thing was very inexpensive. And so what I figured is if I were to go grab a bag of ice every day, it would pay for itself very quickly, because a bag of ice is $7. It would be 100 days, and this thing would pay for itself. And so that's, to me, that's worth it. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, I mean, if you had to do it in a long period of time,
I plan on
and you
doing
got
it every morning, dude. It feels so great. It sucks ass doing it. I, I'm sure I'll say that in a year or two. I'll say the same thing because it's still gonna suck. But the way that like, so my neck for the past like I'm talking a lot. My bad. The last 4 days, my neck has been so stiff. When I hopped in that first cold plunge yesterday, I got out and the first thing I told him was like, my neck doesn't hurt. It was like, it got a little stiffer as the day went on. But again, this morning, woke up a little stiff, got in there, got out. It's like, and it's stiffened up now that the days went on more, but like still, the way I couldn't fucking rotate my neck without having to like stretch it out first. But now I'm like, huh, okay, I'm cool. Like that to me,
now
that's
it basically.
it helps with inflammation. And so there's a whole list of benefits, but I'm in it, bro. I'm part of the cult. Like it's worth it, man. Like
How cold does a shower get though?
I don't know
Like
how
if you're
cold a shower gets. I don't know, and I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure it gets cold. I mean, I'd imagine probably like
they probably look that up and see if, for some reason, if you couldn't do like the tub, like say you're somewhere and you couldn't do a tub, see if how cold a shower would get. Maybe that might help temporarily
I'll
when
do
the
that.
times that you.
Well, I got a
Ice.
week. You know what I mean? I have a week until this thing it shows up on Wednesday probably. I'm hoping Tuesday. And so I got that until I get the water. You know what I mean? Until I got something that's stabilized. So I'll be good with that. But what is water temp of shower? You'd probably be better doing a water tub.
Well, yeah. I was just trying to think of what could you do at times when you couldn't. Let's say you get to a tub, you got ice, and you look at something to, you know what I mean, tie you over. I was just kind of wondering how the temperature of water
I would
gets. I mean,
imagine
I
it'd be
know,
like probably 55 degrees. I'm going to say 55, 60 degrees.
kind of some would get pretty cold, depending where you're at. That is.
Yeah.
Because if you're somewhere like Arizona or maybe down here in Florida in the height of summer,
55, 60
uh,
degrees Fahrenheit.
okay,
Colder seasons, it says it can drop below 7 degrees Celsius, which I don't know what that translates to. It's what, like some fucking stupid translation of like 3 points. What is that? 15? That's 4. So it's like, that's pretty cold.
because like up north, like up in Illinois, I know like water pipes they bury those deeper
44.
than they would somewhere down south. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so if like you were to get a cold spell in one of those places where the pipes were a little shallower, I'm sure it would hit, or you get a negative 50-degree day like we do in Illinois sometimes. And like, we had those couple Februaries in a row. So you might be able to get a colder one out of that, but on like a day-to-day basis. And like, I'm going to put this thing on my back deck and I'm going to fucking buy like a little, I think I actually bought this little pop-up shed for like the pool floats and shit. And so I think instead of the pool floats though, I'm going to toss that motherfucker in there. Go in my little tent. Fucking
Why not?
hop in there. You're just gonna hear some odd screams, and you're gonna see me walk out feeling like a boss.
Put a radio or a TV in that bitch if you get used to being there for a little bit.
Well, so it'll be out there for the summer days, and then the winter, it's gonna go in the basement. And I mean, I'm sitting here looking at this room like, where could I fit this? Can I fit it up here? Because I literally brought my weight bench up here because it's just easier. I'll be fucking editing video or listening to a podcast and I'll just lift weights up here and then the kids are up here with me. And so it's just simpler because downstairs there's so much shit they get into and it's like, it just creates so much more. And so like right after work, it's easier to come up here with them and do all this stuff because I know they're going to be playing with their toys then because they're in Skylar's room or, they're right here with me or Luca's doing it with me. If we're downstairs, they'll want to watch TV. Luca will be going through all the pots and pans. Like, it's a much more of a headache.
What's the name of that one black comedian? He's real short. He's very popular. Like, damn, I can't remember his fucking name.
Kevin Hart?
Well, yeah, Kevin Hart. You ever seen on YouTube? He had some kind of show. I don't know if he still does it, where he sits in the fucking he'll have a guest, and they'll sit like in that tub of ice and shit. No. And he's like a little. Oh, dude, you gotta find it. It's on YouTube.
Bro, trust me. he probably squeals, but it is freaking cold, man. It is like,
Dude, he feels like a motherfucker trying to get in there. And the guests, some of the guests he has in there that are athletes, they'll jump right in that
oh,
shit with no
because dude, they've
fucking
been
problem.
doing it for years. You know what I mean?
But
Like,
he barely can get his ass in there. It's so fucking cold, man. It's funny as shit, man. It is funny as hell.
it
You
really
got to
is.
watch it, dude.
What it's
You'll get
Kevin
you get a
Hart?
you'll get a good laugh out of it, man. I forgot the name of the show, but I've seen it on YouTube a few times in the past.
Have you watched any of the latest Joe Rogan episodes?
No, I can't say that I have.
This dude, he talked to Terrence Howard, and you said that. Were you the one that said he's been blown up? Oh no, that was my buddy Ricardo said he's been blown up on the internet. I'm like, oh, that's because of Joe Rogan's podcast, you know. And that truly is what it is. It's like he talks about this whole new perspective he has, and I'm not discrediting it by calling it perspective. What he says sounds solid, and if it is, he's going to change the world because like so he's really taking gravity and trying to throw it out the window and saying that gravity has been propped up to be something that it really isn't. It isn't a planet former. It's not those forces that cause the, you know, the collection of matter to form a planet. Blah blah blah. And he goes in depth. Like he's prepared. He was good. And you know, he stumbled through some things, but when you're talking about the stuff that he's talking about, it was hard to follow, dude. And I'm not someone easy to lose. Like I have a pretty good grip on a lot of subjects to where I can follow things. Um, but he actually took a simulator and recreated Saturn under pressure with pressure systems and vortexes, I believe. With pressure systems and vortexes. And they recreated Saturn, and it even had the hexagonal shape on the top of it that Saturn truly has. And it's like, to me, that's like, whoa. Out of everything they did, like, and talked about, like, there's a lot of crazy, crazy stuff. But that, to me, that matching the actual planet was just like, you know, I'm sure there's a way to fudge things and make stuff up. And if it is that, shame on him. But I don't think it is. I don't think it is at all. I think this dude truly has found a way to look at things that some of the most brilliant minds in the world understood. And I hope it is. He does talk about how he sounded like he doesn't believe in God. And, you know, I know, like, there's no doubt in my mind there's a God. So like, there's some things I obviously I didn't agree with him on. You know, I do believe that also religion's been used to control humanity, which kind of contorts it and distorts it. But I do believe there's truth in there, and I know there's a God because of the things that have happened in my life that just shouldn't have. And so outside of that, his perspective on it is that the universe isn't infinite. He thinks it's finite because everything is like a breathing motion. You know, everything breathes essentially, he says. And it, like, when you break it down to that, he's talking about the expansion and contraction of the universe. And he says, in order for there to be reverberation, pretty much, that these waves would have to bounce off of something like a glass of water you drop something into. The waves go to the outside of the glass, they bounce off the outside and come back in. And those two pressure forces are what create planets. And so with that, it's like he kind of lays out
Yeah,
all
but
this extravagant stuff.
how would he know that? I mean, I can understand a theory,
Yeah.
you know, but it's like, I mean, how old is the guy? I
Terrence
mean, he
Howard,
can't be that much.
Terrence Howard's the guy that played Iron Man. Not Iron Man. He played what's his name?
That's Robert
General.
Downey Jr.
No. Yeah, it was his co-star in the first one. He
The
played
older guy.
he got switched out because of all that controversy with that woman. And
I don't remember.
he what I can't something machine. Like he played the general, the dude that he worked with in the army. You know what I mean? Like General Rhodes. Rhodes.
Yeah, I've seen the movie. I'd have to see it again because I'm like drawing up a brain fart. But I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I think I know who you're talking about. You talking about the guy he worked with, like the partner in his company?
No, he was his liaison with the U.S. Army or U.S. military, the
I think I
DOJ.
might know.
He played in Hustle and Flow, bro.
Mm, mm.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I know who you're talking about now.
Beautiful mind. An absolutely beautiful mind. And like a lot of these things he did are in simulations. Like what he did is he took the flower of life and is like, you see how there's all these curves? He's like, the biggest mistake humanity made was straightening everything out. And he shows all these different things that he did with like putting bubbles in these places, and it shows all this negative space. And dude, it's you just gotta fucking watch it, bro, because I'm not doing it justice explaining it. And the expansion contraction part, I think I kind of got that part on the head, and I know what I want to say, but I know it's not gonna make sense, and it's just gonna sound stupid. So I'm just gonna
Yeah,
just watch it, bro.
you're right.
You need to check it out. But yeah.
That'll give me something to do.
Oh, dude, you're gonna be like, what the fuck? Because it makes like you can when you hear him say it, you can if you're a logical, fair-minded person and not completely locked into thinking that we know everything, you can see how it makes sense. I mean, I could equate to what he's saying and why it would make sense, and then just these demonstrations he gives is what just adds the beautiful design layered filling and all the good shit that you can do to a cake. Like it's just like whoa. Like he has these little drones that can fly all directional with propellers, and they use like counter flight, like it's pretty much the propellers will be able to change direction, and he can like combine them, they can pick up stuff, and it's all done in the simulation. But he's been granted the patents. But the one thing I didn't like is he did harp on the patents a lot. Like, oh, I got the patent for this. Well, you can get a patent for something because there's not a design that was made like it before. It doesn't necessarily mean that the thing works. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, and so I felt like he was trying to almost, and maybe he doesn't completely. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe you can get let's check that out because I want to be sure with it. But I'm pretty sure you just because you have a patent doesn't necessarily mean the thing is actually mechanically working.
Well, I think it goes along like kind of like what you said that um I don't know. I find it very hard to believe that there's not something or something that kind of created everything. Because you know what I mean. You know how you hear that theory about some people blab about, oh yeah, well, we were created by aliens, a different life force came here, and all that shit. Okay, so let's just pretend for a magical moment that's even true. Something had to create that too, right? I mean, I don't know. I definitely think you're right. They're definitely God or something, a higher being of some sort.
So like you can patent processes. Like I guess like for a physical product, you need to be able to like it needs to be feasible. But like what he patented were like the fact that he was able to put these bubbles and create this negative space by it, and so like it works in simulation, but as like and so they're all real life things. So I guess it is showing it works. But I mean, if that's the case, then you look at like Nikola Tesla's patents. People say that shit doesn't work all the time, but then you have people that prove it that it does work. And so it's like there's things that like, yeah, they're feasible under certain conditions, but are they repeatable? And
Yeah,
so I'm not saying his aren't, but I he harped on the whole having patent thing so much. It almost to me started to add some shed of doubt. You know what I mean? Because I felt like he kept having to like reaffirm himself. And I'm speaking from a completely perspective of nobody. I am not. His intellectual levels and creativity is way beyond mine. Um, so I'm not speaking of like, oh, I'm an expert or anything like that. I'm just speaking from like what I was interpreting from like the thing and how I
yeah.
felt about it. You know what I mean? So like it made me like, wait, why does he keep bringing up? I have the patents, but like it just felt like he was trying to like almost justify too much with that. And so like but I everything he said, I'm he has my vote. That's for sure. Like I I'm
There,
I'm a
you're
Terrence Howard fan. 100% now. I will be following that guy because he could change the world if he's right. And the one thing that I like that he said that I've always said is I felt like we are just a cell in a body of a larger being. I've always felt like that, because if you look at like everything, it's almost repeating. Like there's so many repetitory things in our life, and if you kind of extrapolate that to like solar systems and the way everything looks, and like just taking a picture of the stars and then taking a picture of like our neural connections, it's like it looks so similar, you know what I mean? And so it just makes you
Right.
wonder, like, is there a little bunch of people in me that are sitting here talking on a podcast in my body, you know? Like, yeah, and when you think about it like that, it sounds so dumb, but it's like we could be in a cell right now and have no fucking idea. Just like the ants barely have any idea of us. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like that movie. What was that movie? Was it Jim Carrey did, where he lived inside of a TV show. He didn't realize he
The
was part of a
Truman
TV
Show.
show. Yeah.
I've said my, yeah, I could, yeah.
Fuck, hey, man. I mean, anything's possible. I mean, look at that movie, The Matrix. They're talking about fucking taking the blue pill, the red pill, all of that
Dude,
shit, and everything else.
that's so funny that you bring up the
I've
Matrix.
heard it before too, man. I've heard that theory before too.
Like the simulation theory,
So
is that what you're
I
talking
mean,
about?
yeah, well, yeah, fuck, you never know. I mean, shit, if we're already on that subject, I mean, shit, if that's possible, God knows what else is. I remember when we were in Iraq, I can't remember who I was talking with, but it was kind of funny. Someone brought up the fact that, hey, you know what? What if we're not really in Iraq? What if we're still in the States? They just put us on a plane and flew around for so many hours and dropped it back off because we're here in Iraq, but we're really not. And I'm like, that'd be pretty fucked up, man.
You know what I mean? I'm sure they've done it to people. You know what I mean? Like just to see if they could
That's
really truly throw
got
off
somebody or
people.
somewhere else to climb around and drop them off. Oh yeah, you're here,
If
but you're
they're
really not.
if they're willing to dose people with acid and inject people with plutonium and give people syphilis, they're willing to fly someone around on a plane with a couple circles for a while to fucking see if they can really tell where they're at. You know what I mean? Out of all the things that we've seen happen to people by people in power, that is like the least malicious thing you could do to someone, you know, out of on the scale of how bad things have been done. But yeah, no, like have you ever put like the VR headsets, when you put those on, dude, I truly understand why people could believe that we're in a simulation, because I was in it for 10 minutes and I went to go lean on a fucking table. Like I was like, whoa, shit! Like it also was 4 a.m. We've been drinking all night at the
Oh,
casino.
when you had the headset on and shit.
Yeah, when I had a VR headset on, dude, like we were just playing chess and I went to lean. I'm like, whoa, fuck! Like, um, and so I can understand how people would really believe that we are in a simulation, because I mean, sleeping and death are just a weird thing. Like not weird as like what they are, but just like what happens to the body. Like you can tell the soul leaves you. Yeah, that was my son. Um, you like when the soul leaves you, dude. It just does. It's just like they talked about this on Joe Rogan. It's like it's just different, and like even with an animal, it's different. Um, it and when you sleep, it's almost the same thing. You know, it's like when someone's sleeping, you can tell when they're out. Like, and there's just something different about, like, the body just is so gone. It's like it almost makes you wonder, is the soul somewhere else at that point? You know what I mean? Did the soul go back to like a space where everyone is connected with? And like this sounds like some fucking out there shit, and like this is just some high thoughts right now, you know, or
Dude,
so like,
dream,
you know what I mean? Or like
dreams.
dreaming is the fucking weirdest thing, dude. And like being a like active dreamer, you know what I mean? Like being able to try and run and stuff like that, and like it's definitely weird. And my buddy that I did the cold plunge with was actually talking about astral projection, and you know the CIA did had all those files that were released that talked about them actually running projects, having success with it, speaking about every person being able to do it. Um, it's just about being, you know, trained to. Um, he mentioned something about Area 51 no one can get into because there's like they put magnetic fields around it so that it like interrupts like the brain wave or something like that. And like I can see that. I
Mm.
mean that to me that all sounds plausible. I don't know if it's true, but it sounds plausible. And the when you start to see things in the CIA files and stuff, that really makes me like, whoa. Like if these people invested that much money into it, there has to be some back and some grounds to it. But yeah, so that there's not much out of the realm that I don't actually take the time to consider now because it's just like, do I believe in it? A lot of the stuff, no. Do I think it's plausible or it could happen? Yeah. Um, my outlook on life is very flexible. It's very strong, but it's very flexible. So it's when you get into all those type of topics, it's like, yeah, I can see a lot of that stuff. Like I was watching that Navajo Ranger thing.
Oh,
And
you watched it? Check it. Yeah.
yeah. And they talk about how like some people they'll feel like intimidated about bringing it up and like it is more talked about now, so it's a lot easier to talk about it. But I mean, I've always believed in something there's something else out there. I don't know that it's aliens. And anyone that believes in evolution shouldn't believe in aliens because if that's the case, the chances are so small of it being recreated or happening somewhere else that it most likely never would. Um,
But I wonder if it's a dimensional thing. I mean, would you consider like going to a different planet and you're traveling through space to get to another place? I don't know. Would you consider that a different dimension? Maybe.
so going to a different planet, a different dimension.
I mean, you know what I mean? Because you're going
Yeah,
to a different world, obviously,
yeah.
and there's different, couple of different planes of reality and shit like that.
See,
Um,
I think with planes of reality though, they layer on top of each other. If that's because if I'm not mistaken, there is like a true understanding that there is 12 dimensions that we've identified. And that's that with what Terrence Howard said. I mean, all that shit would be wrong. Um, but from what are if I'm not mistaken, I'm nearly positive it's 12. I really and I might
I
have
have
been wrong about that patent thing, but I don't know. I'd have to look more into what kind of
I wonder
patent he has
if
because
um,
I really do feel like there's a way to patent things that like are still like they're feasible, but they're not physically like made. You know what I mean? Because I don't think he has any of those large flying drones made, and I don't know if he has patents for those, but I think he had patents for like the negative space in between these bubbles or some crap like that. But what was I looking up? I forgot.
there are 12 dimensions or
Oh
some
yeah,
shit like
how
that.
how how many dimensions has science identified? It said it has science patent. You can patent dimensions. Uh,
Because I kind of wonder, because I mean, it's like, it kind of makes you wonder if there is a thing called aliens. Are they coming from a different planet or some shit, or is that coming from a different dimension? I mean, people talk about tracking Bigfoot. You follow tracks, and all of a sudden it goes cold. The tracks stop forming. This fucker hop in a different dimension. Because people haven't been able to find bodies or any traces of them other than seeing them. You know what I mean? So
so
it just kind of makes.
it makes you wonder. No, because I get what you're saying too. Because dimensions, I mean, the people have spoken about things that move through dimensional planes and stuff like that, and maybe that's what the aliens that we're seeing are. They're coming from another dimension, and that's why like they're so far ahead of us. Or yeah. See, it talks about them being theoretical, but in fact, it's quite easy to assume they're showing off a bit in proposing 10 or 11 dimensions, including time. So it's all they're putting it under a theory thing, under a theory, but obviously, I mean, almost everything we have is a fucking theory because we work off of so many like, okay, this is a given and stuff like that, and it's just like there's a lot of imperfections in our science that people really think is like so hard set, and so no, and like we've always we they called them realms back in the day, the 12 realms of Earth or the
Um,
10 realms of Earth, whatever the fuck they would say, but um they call them realms and we call them dimensions now. You know what I mean? It's like, and He was.
Same thing, I guess.
I truly think it is. I really do think it is. I think they had an understanding at one point in our history, and we got completely fucking rocked. And that might be literal. We might have got smacked by a meteor, you know. And I think we lost a lot of information, and they salvaged what they could through uh verbal communication. But I think in order to make things easier to remember, you put it into a parable, you put it into a story, and I think they might have either things get misconstrued over years, but everything I feel like that they say is myth is wrapped in truth, or is it may be a lie a truth wrapped lie, or a lie wrapped truth. Lie wrapped
Yeah,
in truth. You know
kind
what I
of
mean? It's one of the
they
two.
blend them together where it makes you
And
question just about everything there is. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
you lose the attention of the children. You spice up a story for a second, and they all pay attention again. You know what I mean? It's almost like, and when you
You
think about it, in that
spice it
sense,
up, but add some bullshit to it.
all of a sudden, a dude's
You
cutting
know,
off the head of a two-headed beast. You know what I mean? Or maybe there was a two-headed beast. I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like, we found some fucked up things in
yeah.
nature. Like, look at an
Well, I mean,
octopus.
they said about the giant squids. They thought that was
A
a
myth.
Malay make, and then sure enough, the fuckers end up being real. I mean, of course, we don't know exactly how big they get exactly, but I mean, you see them on sperm whales with the fucking sucker marks and all that shit.
Well, dude,
So obviously,
how the fuck do these things know how to change their DNA to camouflage themselves? Like, that is like the most amazing thing ever. They literally rip apart their DNA and put it back together to camouflage themselves into their like establishment. And people are more worried about things flying in the sky. I'm sorry, we know what this thing is, and we fucking like. How did they learn how to do that? You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's not evolution. I'm sorry. I don't understand how evolution teaches you how to break down what it built. You know what I mean? Like, to internally do it. Those things are the fucking. I think those are the pets of the aliens, and they are kind of like the sensor guards of the fucking ocean. And they just look like they're just biological beings. So we just perceive them as they are here. Because, dude, it like, how do they like? I don't know, man. It's just they're just such weird creatures. Um, they're like birds. They have fucking beaks and shit and teeth and like, I don't know, man. You get
Yeah, the
past,
beaks.
dude. The beak is weird, right? It's like, what the fuck?
Almost like a parrot in a way.
Dude, it's like it's in its mouth. It's weird, man. And then you get these little tiny itty bitty ones that are super poisonous. If they touch you, you're donezo. And so
Right.
it's like it's so, I don't know. Nature's a weird thing, dude. And then you get something so magnificent like that, and then nature turns around and takes one of the largest roaming animals, a giant sloth, and turns it into a inching tree escaping animal.
Mhm.
And I say tree escaping because it has to go down to the floor to shit. It's like
Oh yeah, then it comes back up.
they get picked off, bro. Like,
Yeah,
could you,
you better at the right time.
the most dangerous function of your life is defecating. Like,
Yeah,
that.
better get your ass back up that tree.
It's a shitty life, bro. It's a
Yeah,
real
but them
shitty
guys
life.
have fucking smell like a motherfucker. So you think about it, what in the hell's gonna grab you? You smell 'em like that.
Fucking tiger that's downwind, dude. Or that's upwind from you. You know what I mean? Like,
You must be pretty fucking hungry taking out a smelly sloth. You know what I'm saying?
I think they do get picked off by cats, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see what their biggest predator is. But
It's
it's
the
just like,
jaguar.
it's so interesting. You know
I'm
what I
like,
mean? Like, to see how
oh,
nature, that thing was a king of the land at one point. You know what I mean? It would just the claws on it were so disgustingly big.
is
What is
that
it?
too loud?
What's it?
Is that too loud or anything?
No.
No, okay, cool. No, I just turned the AC on my car. It was getting hot. I just didn't want to like noise or anything interfering with it.
Yeah, no, I can't hear anything. What
Oh,
are predators to sloths? Yeah,
they're
jaguars.
South America, happy jaguars and shit like that.
Yeah, jaguars, ocelots, harpy, eagles. Oh shit.
Yeah, harpy eagle. Yeah, they're the big ass fucking eagles in that canopy and shit. Yeah, I can see them picking them up.
Yeah. Look at these
The
motherfuckers.
harpy eagles get pretty fucking big too, man. They ain't little.
Yeah, dude. No, that's. beautiful animal.
So even when you're not taking a shit on the ground, you gotta worry about an eagle snatching your ass up.
So I was watching that Life on This Planet TV show, and
Yeah.
there's like these birds that are like they're like a little bit evolved from penguins, pretty much. They look just like them, but they actually can have wings that are flyable, and they're standing there, and again, just another show of like nature and how amazing it can be. But it picked up this bird, carried it a little bit away, was holding it by the shoulder, picks up one leg, and just karate kids this motherfucker in the neck, dude, in the most vicious way. Like, so violently, so elegantly. And it's just like, nature strikes again. Like, my daughter was like, ah! I was like, oh my God. Like, sweetie, that's nature. Like, oh, I caught a cicada too today and fed it to the bearded dragon, and she freaked out. I was like, sweetie, these things are born to be eaten by nature because they're just a protein shake. But like, it's just so like nature really is a fickle, fickle female dog for sure.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah. It's just somebody got to eat, right? I
yeah,
mean, you
no,
guys come from
dude, it's.
motherfucker got to eat. Somebody has to be the sacrificial lamb.
Do you guys get cicadas down there?
The what?
You guys don't get cicadas down there, right? You're not far enough north.
I've heard them in the woods. We went to a place called McKeithen Lake.
Yeah.
We went out there for a walk. It's kind of like a big round, like circular trail, and it got a little lake in the middle or something, very shallow. We heard them out there the other day when we were there. I haven't heard them too much around the area that I'm at right now,
I would think
but
that you were too close to ground to sea level, but I don't know how far in you are, and I don't know how far north you really
I'm see the okay, the Gulf is west, so I'm probably less than 10 miles from the actual coastline.
are. Okay.
I think maybe it's like we go to a beach called Pine Island, and sometimes a little local beach, and I want to say maybe fuck I don't know, maybe 5 6 miles. It's not even 10, so it's
So
not that far at all.
yeah, and what like I don't have like any in my backyard barely, and it's because it's all this whole neighborhood was like built on marshland, and so with the ground being so saturated, I don't think the eggs ever hatched or they're ever feasible over here. If they
Yeah, I'm not
like, I
really.
had one on my porch, but I went to my friend's house. This girl Emma I grew up with, and she has a moat around one of her trees that's like literally like a foot wide of these fucking things trying to crawl over each other to get the tree. Or was that fell and just are fucking like
Yeah, you probably have to look up and see exactly how they do it. Don't they like lay their eggs in or something in the ground or some shit?
Well, what she was explaining to me, because I don't really know that much about it. I've only eaten one, and that was when I was in high school, like 16 years ago, something like that. I think it's 17. I think it's when they come out. But she said what they do is like they climb up the tree, and like when the females die and they fall to the ground, their eggs are still in them, I guess, and when they just go into the ground and kind of that's how they. And then after so long, 17 years, they fucking fall to a certain level. They incubate, come up, and there they go. That's the way she explained it. One skeeted on me too. That was interesting. I was like, "What the fuck was that? Did a sprinkler just come on, or a dog just spit on me?" I was like, "She's like, oh, so I guess she explained that they have a stronger pissing ability than elephants do. So they
Stronger
just
ability.
yeah, these motherfuckers are shooting rockets, and I'm talking about just pissing. But yeah, it felt like the thing skeeted on me, like felt it on my shoulder. I was like, "What the fuck?" And like, but there was a shitload, bro. Like there was literally, I mean, I'm talking hundreds on the floor, just crawling all over each other, just looking stupid. Like,
Never seen them like
I collect. Yeah, bro. I'll take a picture.